animation My Moon, the lady has a wonderful push and pull dynamic with her environment, which is an aspect that I wanted to be able to harness well. Puppet is animation by Patrick Smith, and it's about a friendly handmade puppet that takes on a life of its own. And it's a frame by frame animation. This animation really inspires me, especially because I like the push and pull dynamic, and also the depiction of suffering involved that is inflicted by aspects of the environment, which is what I'd like to achieve in my animation. In week 4 and 5, I concentrated on looking at the arc of a character, and I also had to remind myself why I was making the animation, which is to highlight the ups and downs that women go through, as it is important to bring out the cost of being female, to encourage and educate. When I figured out my main thing, I also uh, started thinking that it seems like women walk a very thin line, like everything is has to be perfect, and if you go this way, it changes. And I wanted to highlight that, and it made me think of a circus and how uh, one could walk on a tightrope. When I started thinking of that analogy or metaphor, I decided to start looking for research, and I found I found these images that was so beautifully done for the New Yorker magazine, and um, they all had reference to a circus, and it inspired me to continue creating because I realized that the imagination I have in my mind exists in another person's, and that it's doable. So I started creating the character. When I started creating this character, I had this girl that was starting to put on makeup, and um, I realized that the detail that I had was too much, and it wasn't going with the style that I envisioned. So I decided to rethink again how I wanted the character to look. And I ended up with this character. However, something just didn't sit right. It felt like it was a little like too boxy, like she'd been put in a box. And I understand that that is how like a majority of women's lives like revolve around being in a certain box. However, I didn't want this character to have that personality trait. So I went and looked up characters that I envisioned my character to look like, and I gained inspiration from Soul, which is a Pixar movie, and I really like the shape of the characters, where it's just this soft sculptural type of shape, and you know what it is. You don't need so much to identify if it's male or female. Or So I ended up landing on this character, and I did make her body like like somewhat like the Soul characters, and I decided to make the animatic